Coffee, check. Brewer systems, check. Brewing, check. Coffee served. Check. Brewing Better Days is more than a podcast. It's a movement. It's for the first responders, the veterans, healthcare professionals, and all of their families. This is Brewing Better Days. And now your host, Eric Hadley.
Don't forget that's a 32.
Welcome, everybody. My name's Eric Hadley. I'm your host, and today I am blessed and excited. I've got an amazing local talent sitting in front of me, Buster Clifton Davis, who has been singing professionally now for over 10 years, and my understanding you're pretty excited to release a group of some tracks here coming up. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, this is, I say professionally for over 10 years, people letting me come and set up a tip jar somewhere and do something like that.
Hey, you got to start somewhere, right?
Starting somewhere, yeah. So, so this will be my first group of releases as Buster Clifton Davis. I've had, some other bands in the past and done some releases and done some touring and stuff like that, but this will be my first under my name.
That is so cool, man. So tell me a little about yourself. You're originally from?
Yeah, I'm originally from Ava, Missouri, so not too far from here, about 45 minutes or an hour, depending on where you go and how fast you drive. But just heart of the Ozarks. Grew up on farms, doing farm kid stuff and just country stuff. And
sounds a lot like me, local small town country boy.
Yeah.
Just grew up hunting, fishing, doing all that kind of stuff.
Pretty much, man. Yeah, just hunting and fishing, and grew up with cows and horses. Ava's a big horse town, so
gotcha.
We did all of that stuff. My sister mostly did the horses, but yeah, man, just doing, like I said, just small town bored kid stuff, getting into plenty of trouble.
Are you like me back in the day? Go to the store, get BB guns, and do BB gun wars.
Dude, we did a lot of that. Yeah, a lot of the airsoft stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, plenty of unexpected visits to the get stitches or any of that stuff. So,
Right.
Yeah. Just growing up doing stuff when you were bored and it leading the wrong way most of the time.
Yep. So growing up local, you graduate high school, then what?
Yeah. So graduated high school, and then right out of high school. Basically just went straight to where I went to college for about 6 months and was going to try and do fast track for, I think it was physical therapy assistance or something like that.
Okay.
And pretty quick, I realized I didn't want to grow up old people the rest of my life. So just, working, playing some music. I, grew up playing in church. So still played for the church at that point and moved around a couple of places around the area, Branson, Lebanon, just working at like cell phone stores and doing some sales and stuff like that. And
nice.
So all through that, still played at the church, tried to play with a couple of different bands in that time, just as a kid trying to figure out, if I could even do anything with music. And yeah, I didn't think that you could around here, around Springfield, Missouri. But as I was moving and all that stuff, kind of life happened with, just different girlfriends or whatever, and just living life and thinking that I was just going to fall in my lap and figure it out or whatever. But eventually, just didn't really pursue anything with it. And one day after, I think I'd posted a video or something, but some guys from Detroit actually messaged me on Facebook back then. And this was probably 9 years ago now.
Okay.
But yeah, reached out to me and asked me to come and tour as a touring worship leader. And
that's cool.
Yeah, so packed up my car and moved to Detroit right off of a Facebook message.
Hey, that's a bold leap, man. There's so many people. What's one of my favorite quotes? Somebody said that, like 95% of the dreams go to the grave because people are afraid to actually take a leap of faith and go do that. So
yeah. I imagine it's probably more than that.
Well, it's awesome that you're you're fighting for your dream and going after that, man. That's extremely admirable.
Yeah, that was probably my first real attempt at making anything for myself out of music, and it was decently short-lived. It was maybe a year of touring with those guys, and bands getting into fights, and we got into a yelling match, and one guy left, and we, kind of limped the rest of the tour, and couldn't really do much without him, and yeah, it was kind of over at that point. So that was my first shot at the dream, going up in smoke.
So what would you categorize? Did you bounce around between different genres of music, or you've kind of stuck with one? Or?
No, man, I did everything. I grew up, so my mom, she has, we'll call it an eclectic taste for music. She's all over the place.
Okay.
So, I grew up listening to, Stevie Nicks and Metallica and Godsmack, and so a lot of rock, and I got really into metal and all that stuff. So when I first started picking up an electric guitar when I was maybe 14 or so, I started playing acoustic when I was 12. But then I was just like, oh, dude, I want to do what they're doing, And that was like my first idol as far as guitar goes was Mark Tremonti from Creed.
Okay.
And so the guitarist for Creed, and he was in a band called Alter Bridge at that time. And I was just like, I want to do that. And I didn't get anywhere near that, but that was my first love was rock and metal and stuff.
Nice. Funny little story. Was it 2 Christmases ago? So I grew up, I graduated in 95. I'm turning 48 this week, right? So, and I don't know how that compares with you, but I grew up with Metallica and all that stuff, and I'm eclectic as well. I'll listen to pretty much everything. So anyway, my wife, last 2 Christmases ago, her Christmas gift to me was tickets to Metallica to see the 2-day concert up in St. Louis. That was amazing. I'm not a big, I didn't grow up going to concerts and all that kind of stuff, but Metallica was on my bucket list of, I wanted to go see a Metallica concert, and they did not disappoint. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I imagine that's probably still a ripping show.
Yeah, it was amazing. But I grew up listening to all kinds of stuff. Kind of didn't listen so much to country back in the day, but funny little story. I went off to college, and my first roommate button heads with this guy. And this was back in the day when we actually had plug-in phones. Mm-hmm. And so whoever had the room, you had to buy the phone service. And so I had the phone, but he would keep leaving the door unlocked. And there was a big thing with people going through the dorms and using your phone when you weren't there and racking up phone bills and all that kind of stuff. So
I will say that's before my time.
Yeah, I locked the phone in my desk and came in one day, and he had just ripped the desk apart to get the phone. And so he would sit there and talk till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning while I'm trying to get
Oh, yeah.
And so long story short, I found out that he didn't like country. And all of a sudden I became a country fan.
Oh, that's how you got
That's how I got into country. So, yeah.
Being petty about it.
Garth Brooks and everything, I grew up in Texas. Might as well, so anyway.
It fits the bill and it pisses this guy off, so might as well make it work.
Yeah, that was a little insight on me back in my younger days.
We've all had a time or two of it.
Yeah. So, being on the Brewing Better Days podcast, got asked the question, are you a coffee drinker?
Religiously, yeah.
Awesome. What is your favorite way to drink coffee? Are you a cream and sugar guy, straight black?
Straight black, man. Throw it in a Stanley thermos, the old school ones, not the new, white chick bucket with a handle thing on it. But no, dude, I'll bring just a regular, I got a little Arctic coffee cup thing that I use, and then just fill the Stanley up and keep it all day.
Nice.
Straight black, medium roast, man.
So when you brew, you just do typical straight drip coffee maker?
Yep.
Old school.
I've gotten to where I actually do measure it out because I realize that matters.
Oh, yes. There is a science, and it does correlate to taste. Yes.
Yeah. So I've got my my ratios figured out finally. So, but yeah, just straightforward, man.
So cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So when you're sitting here, what do you end up doing in your spare time? Like, you read books, you do a lot of hunting.
My favorite thing to do is when we're in season is hunt, and so we hunt and fish a lot in my family. I need to read a lot more books than I do. I used to read all the time, I'll tell you. And I'd say that half of my songs, my good songs, are written while I'm reading a lot. So me not having read in a long time might have taken some steam out of the writing machine for a little bit. So I need to get back to that. But no, yeah. So for free time, I still write a lot. I still sit down with my guitar and just write a lot. Like I said, fish, hunt every chance that I get. Yeah. So between work and music, that's usually what I'm doing.
Well, I might need to. I love hunting and fishing myself, and I've been pushing a little hard as of late. So I need to figure out something to unplug for a little bit. And I recently got back into fishing. It was during spring break. When the kids were out for spring break. I told Lucas that because he wanted to do an overlanding trip.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I was like, perfect. Here's the deal. It was 3 days. You plan what we're going to do, and I'll be the transportation and everything else. So he ended up, my wife's sister sold their property down in Texas and then moved up to Arkansas, where they bought, it's like a 30-some acre, whatever it is, RV park. And on the RV park, they have a couple cabins. So as kind of I've got this vision to do something with Lucas as like a rite of passage to manhood. I grew up with scouts and my dad and everything else, and I went through a series of obstacles and lessons and milestones to ultimately become a young man. Well, nowadays, scouts isn't what it used to be.
I was never in any of that stuff, man. I've always, growing up in a small town, that wasn't really a big thing for us. It was just like your dad stuck you in a deer stand and made you go.
Yeah, well, you get everything a different way.
I was gonna say, like, it was just kind of like we got the tough love of it.
Yeah, right.
That way. But I was always interested on like more. I probably could have been better off with a more structured version of it, but yeah.
Yeah, we could all probably use a little more structure, but so I told him he plans it out. I'll be the transportation of everything. He ended up planning a pretty awesome 3-day little trip. So we used the opportunity to teach him how to set up the trailer, how to set up the truck, how to set up the tent, the water, the stove, everything. You've seen the truck and trailer. So like basically that system, I can go off grid, and it's designed as a disaster response coffee truck. Yeah. With the idea that in response to Hurricane Irma back in 2017, when I was down there, I learned that a lot of the first responders, they do 12 on, 12 off, Alpha Bravo schedule. By the time they finish their workday, they still have to do paperwork and everything. And when they're finished with that, they lose time by commuting to and from home. So a lot of them, they just crash at the station in those tragic times. Well, it got me thinking, what if I was a first responder and say the tornado of Joplin comes through, destroys my house, but I have to go to work to take care of the community? Yeah. Am I going to be focused? Yeah. So I pitched the idea, and it's been a long journey to get to this point. But basically, the idea is that we roll up on site, we start making coffee, just giving coffee out to bring normalcy back from a tragedy. Yeah. And then I get in touch with the first responders and say, hey, I've got a team of volunteers here. What can we do to take care of your family, to give you peace at home so that you can focus on the community and do what you need to be doing?
Okay, so kind of taking care of the people or taking care of the people.
Everything that is on the truck and trailer is sponsored. Besides the truck. The truck was mine before I started Got Your Six, but the idea, and so with the capabilities, like I've got Red Arc battery management system in the back of the truck, where just off of that system alone, I can brew over 400 cups of coffee out of the back of the truck.
The Red Arc systems are in depth. That's why I'm obsessed. Like I told you earlier, I've gotten obsessed with overlanding in the last year and a half or so.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and I still don't think that I'm gonna go with the Red Arc stuff just because I want it a little bit more contained. So probably more like a battery system with mounted solar panels. But that Red Arc stuff is heavy.
Well, I'll have to show you the Red Arc system because you mentioned earlier that you're just getting into the overlanding stuff. I've been doing this for years, and
I probably got a thing or two to learn.
Yeah, I could show you some capabilities of the Red Arc system that'll probably blow your mind.
Yeah,
like I can plug into shore power off of mine. I can run solar, charge it off of solar. Like I said, I can do basically 400 cups of coffee just off of the 2 lithium-ion.
And it's all just self-contained.
It's all self-contained.
Yeah, that's nuts, man.
Plus all the charging ports and all the stuff that I've got in there. But so yeah, he planned it all. I taught him everything, how to set everything up and whatnot. And then when we went on the trip, he was basically doing it all, and I was just there supervision. And my goal with this is to go through a series of trials and tribulations, learning events and whatnot, and get to a point where there's a culmination event where at that point my plan is to sit them down and be like, hey, you have done all these things, and talk through it all and be like, I just want you to know as your father that I now see you as a young man. You've got my blessing as a young man, and kind of have that rite of passage for him. So it was super cool. We did, I guess it was 3 years ago at this point, we went to Overland West.
Okay, yeah.
And I had taken him with me. Wasn't really planning what I'm about to talk about, but while we were out there, Lucas out of the blue was like, hey, Dad, are we close to the Grand Canyon? And I'm like, yeah, bud, we're pretty close. And he's, do you think we can go and see the Grand Canyon? And the trip itself was a work trip for Gotcha 6. But I managed to swap around some meetings and whatnot and get things situated. So we ended up driving up to the Grand Canyon. After the podcast, I'll show you this video. We got there and we walked up, and as you crest the walkway and you can see the Grand Canyon, at like 8 years old, this kid's jaw dropped. And he was just like, eyes were like this big. He sat there speechless. Yeah. For like what seemed to be forever. And then he turned around, he looked at me, and he was crying. And I'm like, what's up, bud? And he's like, these are happy tears, Dad, happy tears. One of the greatest moments of my life. So the idea is do all these little things over the next couple of years and then do a big trip, something like the Grand Canyon, where we do whitewater rafting, rock climbing, hiking, do it all. And at the end of it,
experiences.
At the end of it, it'll be, you are now a young man, that kind of thing. So
that's cool, man. That is, we didn't travel a ton growing up, and that's one thing that I wish we did more of. And so now that, I've gotten older and I travel quite a bit now, and the stuff there, I was like, what is that?
That is the ice maker.
Scared me.
Right behind you, you've got a full-blown coffee bar. So
yeah, I was wondering what that was. I was like, is something falling?
I'm just going to be that. That's the signature mascot is the ice machine in the background.
It works out. But no, man, that's one thing I've realized is just like, I grew up in a really cool place because I went to some crap places touring and traveling and stuff. But like going out west, it's one of those things where you start to see stuff and you're just like, how is this possible? Yep. Ozarks, and then Ozarks are pretty. And like I said, I appreciated them a lot more after leaving than I did growing up.
Right.
You know, especially going through Kansas or Connecticut. Man, I'm sorry for anybody that lives in Connecticut. That place is rough.
I did 2 summer interns up there at Electric Boat building Navy nuclear submarines.
It was awful. That was the worst place I've ever been. But, you realize, Ozarks are pretty damn neat when you're and places like that. But then you go west and you're like, it's pretty cool too.
Right.
So, yeah, I appreciate those experiences, and it's probably good that I'm experiencing them for the first time now, because I don't know that I would have grasped all that at a young age like that. I don't know that I would have had, your son's reaction to all of that, because I was probably more of a like, look at your feet, like I'm a self-absorbed kind of kid. So
Yep.
I probably appreciate it more now.
So you're kind of dipping your toes into the world of overlanding. Mm-hmm. What are you running for a vehicle?
So I've got a 2019. Right now, I've got a 2019 GMC Sierra, one of the Elevations, just a double cab, which I took my build off. I had a camper shell with a platform that I welded together, and then some drawers that I'd made, or not even drawers. Well, I call them drawers because there was just slide outs that I took, like little ball bearings,
right,
and put down on there at a platform, and then 2 slide outs that I just had like eye bolts that would screw in to stay in place, and then use totes for my drawers and kitchen setup.
Perfect.
And then a rack on top of a camper shell. Took my back seat out and put a platform there because my dog goes everywhere, and so dog bed, cooler, everything back there.
I was gonna say, your dog goes everywhere. I don't see no dog.
Yeah, I left him at home today, so I'm working today. So he's
what kind of dog you got?
He's a golden doodle, so
Nice.
Floofy dog, not really useful for anything,
Yeah.
but he's a pretty good bud.
Nice. Very cool. Well, with the so you're gonna stick with the full size, or are you looking at?
Yeah, I'd like to. I just, for the room of it, man, especially because my goal is to have a full built rig, all self-contained, to where I can go play shows and do everything, and stay in that, and take people with me if I want to, and do all that. So having a full built out rig like that with the full size in it, I think would be a lot more useful than just the like Tacomas or Colorados or anything like that.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I've had it all. I started, my first truck was a 87 Chevy long bed that we would take down to all around Northeast Texas and do camping and whatnot before it was overlanding. And then quickly, I think it was like 2003, I had a Jeep TJ that I tricked out and modded, and basically just camped out of that thing, sleeping on the ground with a tent, or I'm not even opposed to finding 2 trees and stringing up hammocks.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon for me to string up a hammock with snow on the ground kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
if you've got a decent sleeping bag, it's doable. It's not usually fun, but it's doable.
with the right sleeping bag and a good crash pad, it's love it. I like being cold anyway.
I do, but I got to get those covers going.
Yeah. Growing up in Texas, I'm accustomed to the heat. Then I went off and started working on ships where you're working in the engine room and it's like 140 degrees.
I don't need any part of that.
And then you take that and you go to like the South Asian Pacific where it's just like muggy and even hotter. I'm to the point where like I don't want any heat.
No.
Anything over 75, I'm just like, well.
Man, I'm the same way. That's why I'm like, spring's pretty cool, but I like fall better because
Fall and winter.
Yeah, spring, I'm like, I still like it, but I'm pretty bummed about what's coming.
Yeah. As of late, man, it's been nothing but tornadoes and rain.
Yeah.
The
It's
rain
getting
needs
flooded out.
I like the rain, but I think I've had enough for this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty over that. That's I don't like letting my dog out and him coming back in a muddy mess.
A mud doodle.
Oh, dude, it's so bad. It's so bad with him.
Yeah. So when you said you like reading, what kind of stuff you like reading?
Fiction stuff mostly.
Gotcha.
It's like, I've tried to read like the better yourself books or like the memoirs and stuff like that, and like some of them are all right, but I get so bored with that stuff. Even like I enjoy like like the history stuff, but I gotta have a little bit more story to it.
Yeah.
yeah. I like fiction stuff, even some sci-fi-ish stuff on that. I just like a good, well-built story, I think, and that's where a lot of my writing, my songs that I like the most are just weird stories that didn't even actually happen. It's just some stuff that I made up.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I got an email this morning. I've got 4 credits on my audiobook, and I was thinking about trying to find how to play guitar for dummies.
I probably could use that too.
Oh, come on, man. I was ultimately going to be like, hey, what does it take to get guitar lessons, right?
Hey, I'll give them. You're not going to be shredding by any means. I'm a utility player, is what I like to say.
Yeah, I'm not looking for anything crazy. I'm more of to be able to play guitar would be like an addition to overlanding, sitting by a campfire, just dazing and getting lost in the flickering flames and just picking away. And
That's as good a time for it as any, man.
humming and just barely singing anything, right?
Oh yeah, that's still probably half the time my favorite time to play.
Nice.
Yeah,
So, how old are you?
I'm 28 now.
28. Mm-hmm. Good night. In your 28 years of existence, what would be some advice for the younger generation? Best bit of advice that you've ever received to pass on to the younger generation?
Man, I've gotten some good advice and I've got some really stupid advice too.
Let's hear them both.
Probably some of the best advice, man, is that comes from my dad and my grandpa and all that stuff. So I've actually got a song about it as well. Just my great granddad, Clifton Davis. Actually, my middle name is after him. So
Nice.
He pretty much, he was closest to my dad when my dad was growing up, and his big thing was always just saying the Davis word means something. And so,
Yes.
all growing up, dude, all I heard was, I don't care what you're doing, like your word means something. And I have not always held to that, and that's, I'll tell you, the worst times of my life and the just backed in a corner times of my life. I'm just like, well, I probably fibbed a little there, told a lie there, tried to work myself out, out of a situation there by not being honest. And it's just like, if you just said something up front, dude, I would have been way better off.
Makes life so much easier, right?
Yeah, man. So just, probably just being, very open to accepting that you're not working out of this. Just tell the truth on that, and just being open and honest about what you want too, being forward about stuff, I think is something. So not keeping stuff in. So being vocal about what you want and honest about what you want or what you did.
Dude, that would be one of the biggest things looking back over my life is being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
That internal dialogue that you have with yourself and being honest with yourself. Dude, some of the interactions I've had with people, and you look back and you're like, man, if you would have just been honest with yourself, how much heartache would have been avoided. And
man, I've talked myself into some dumb shit. Just absolutely. just being like, this is probably, because this is what I want in this moment right now. So this is probably what's best.
Well, what's that old saying? How do you learn the stove is hot?
You touch it.
You touch it. It's all dumb, right?
Dude, I've touched it way too many damn times, too.
It's when you get that repeat. It's the
problem. I don't think I have fingerprints anymore, man.
Oh, come on.
That's, no, but that's, my dad has always, that's been a repeat playlist in my head. It's all growing up. So that's, like I've got a song called Ole Dad, and that one, it took me over 2 years to write because I was just like, okay, this song is too special not to get right. And I rewrote it. I'm not joking you, probably 10 times.
Oh, wow.
And restructured it, wrote a different bridge for it about every other month. And I was just like, it's not right. It's not right. And I didn't touch that song for probably 6 months. And then I just kind of came back. I found it in a recording because I've got just like over 1,000 voice notes in my
gigabytes
phone. I need to probably find something a little bit better to store this stuff on. But, I reworked it and finally came back to it after like 6 months of just not even listening to it and found it again. I was like, I need to work on that one again. And then it just 15 minutes, finished it. And then I was like, that's it.
That is so cool.
Yeah. It was wild because it was just like, I just picked it up and then went through it and rewrote an entire bridge in 15 minutes and it was done. And it was the way that I was just like, that's exactly how that song's supposed to go. Wow. Just stuff works out when it's supposed to work out, man.
That is crazy. That is crazy. So is your dad and grandfather still around?
So my granddad he's my great grandpa. So he passed away at 97.
Okay.
So that was, I guess that would have been 4 years ago.
Sounds
4 or
like
5
he
years ago,
lived an amazing life.
Oh, dude. Like a couple years before he passed, this is the kind of guy that he was. A couple years before he passed, I'm on the phone with my dad. I lived up in Fort Wayne, Indiana at this time, I think. And I'm sitting there talking to my dad. He goes, yeah, Grandpa Clifton called me the other day. And he goes, I had to go get him and help him off the mower. And he would have been, I'm guessing he would have been like 90, like into his 90s, like 92, 93, 94, somewhere in there.
Right.
And my grandma Gracie was down for a nap. She's taking her nap. And my grandpa has a big yard. And strapped his walker on the top of the mower and got too close to the creek and got stuck down there. And was down there for like 2 hours or something like that. And just like yelling. And then finally my grandma woke up and went out there to find him. And he told her, she goes, go call Kevin. So my dad had to go get him and help him get the mower out and all that.
That's
and
all.
I mean, how many people are not doing that stuff at 50 or 60,
Right.
Just, and it's what he always said. He said, man, you start slowing down when you start slowing down. That's when you stop working.
So true.
That's when you start going downhill. And he lived by that, man.
These years in the maritime industry, you'd hear story after story after story of chief engineer who decides to retire, and the moment he retires, within like 6-8 months, passed away.
Yeah.
It's just because all you did is stop.
Yep.
Got to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of choose when the quality of your life goes down and when you stop going and paying attention to that stuff. And shoot, I'm guilty of that at 28. And I'm looking at that. I'm like, dude, I'm like getting to the point now where I'm starting to feel some of that. I'm like, okay, you're not a high school kid anymore. It just feels weird that I'm
Just
even where
wait
I'm
till you
at.
get up to like 48, man.
I don't know if I could say that on this, but I heard a quote the other day that getting old is not for pussy. Yeah, that's what.
The buttons. I'm learning the buttons. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to learn the buttons.
Hey, man, I'll put a lot of stuff to use.
Hey, let me little.
Yeah,
Just
it's,
kidding.
yeah, half the time I probably need that in real life. So if you could just follow me around with that thing, it'd be fine.
Dude, I'm just glad they don't strap like dog collars on us and have them automatic.
Dude, that'd probably help me out a little bit. And man, like I said, I got a great family, but sometimes I just got a dirty mouth and I can't help it. So.
I've fought it myself for
Being military, you probably are a little bit more.
The salty sailor. Dude, it has taken a lot of bandwidth and energy for me to steer my ship into a different direction.
Yeah, it's it's something I'm working on for sure, especially as I'm playing more shows and trying to get into more spots and trying to make sure that my music is for everybody, kind of thing. There'll probably never be a time that it's all the way proper, but working on it.
Well, speaking of music, tell me kind of where you're at with all that. You're writing. You said you got looking to release a bunch of songs. You said earlier though that you're not going to do an album. You just got a bunch of different tracks.
Yeah. So at this point right now, these songs, I mean, shoot, maybe later on I roll them into an album or something. But for this, I keep calling it a record, but it's not a record. It's just a group of singles that I'm going to release over a period of time.
Gotcha.
A lot of those releases, especially when you're starting out, and and I've got, no joke, probably anywhere from 60 to 80 or 100 songs that are done.
Oh wow.
Not all of them have what it takes to make it, but it's just I've got a lot of songs. But the ones that stick out to me, I'm just like, yeah, I wanted to put them together and release it under my name. And so starting out with this, in this new kind of, like I said earlier, my first venture of music,
Right.
Of many really that burned, and I've probably been through 3 or 4 or 5 times of, hey, let's give this a shot. So,
Hey, stubborn country boy, not giving up.
we'll call it that.
There you go.
It's just been a track record of me half-assing it is really what it is. But this one, yeah, man, I actually almost quit playing music when I moved back here.
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, you and me both, man. I sold like $15,000 worth of gear and guitars and amps and kept my acoustic, and for whatever reason started writing again, and I was like, son of a gun, this is the best stuff I've written so far, I think. So I was like, well, I got to put it together. So it's been a long time coming since I moved back to Missouri and decided to do this. But like I said, it's a group of singles. And when you're getting more started out, just to release singles, especially in this day and age with social media and everything's kind of fast-tracked, you know? So instead of a full listening album, have some stuff that I can keep releasing in for people. And so it's right now I've got a group of 5 singles that are just about done. I just got my first track back from a guy in Nashville that put some pedal steel and organ on it, and so we're going to put it through mastering and mixing, and then we're about to have it done. So
Nice.
the other 4 are soon to follow and should start having some stuff out. My target is by the end of June.
Okay. And do I get to tease the audience with a little bit? Tell me about the song you got that you want to play.
Yeah, so it's the song I was talking about earlier, Ole Dad.
Nice.
So, yeah, like I said, man, it's just, this is definitely the song that I'm most proud of.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if it's going to be the one that everybody likes the most. It's probably the most country song that I have. You know, I always tell everybody it's a more Americana, folky country, something along those lines.
Gotcha.
Because I don't know what to call it half the time. But yeah, that's probably the most country song that I have. But like I said, it came from when I first started writing it. My first idea. I still lived in Fort Wayne at this time, and I just got a phone call, you know, talking to my dad, and we were just kind of talking about my grandpa and you know, all my grandpas, and just kind of I had really awesome granddads that just all, you know, were some of those solid men that you're just like, oh, they don't make them like that anymore.
Right.
So that's where, you know, that's kind of where it came out of.
Awesome.
Yeah,
well, I'm excited to hear this, man.
Yeah.
Words from old dad, all that I have. Steering me straight, I start to stray. You learn from the best, but they're dead and gone. But he taught me how to make sure they live on. Keep your powder dry, son. Don't go in half cocked. Be kind, I don't care if they're not. Your words all you have, so don't tell a lie. Just take it to the chin, don't cry. Be soft, be a man, be a damn good friend. I'm telling you all this now, 'cause there's gonna come a time you're here and I'm not. Words from old dad, turning back time. Tell stories of old, when things were alright. When men paid their dues and took every chance. They built this world with their calloused old hands. And he said, trying to give you better than I had, son. To give you more than I had growing up. It may not all be right. I know that it's not nice. But you know, men that taught me said the same things. So
is awesome.
Thanks so much, man.
That is so cool.
Never with the buttons again.
Gotta have fun with the buttons, man.
You're gonna spend the money on it, gotta use them, man.
Yeah, exactly. Dude,
Thank you, man.
that is awesome, man. I am blown away by that.
Thank you.
Have you taken this and like performed at different shows or whatnot, or is this still
I play
under
a
the
lot
wraps
of-
kind of?
Yeah, no, I play a lot of shows locally, and so people that go to my shows, which I'm playing a lot of brewery shows right now, so you've probably heard them in the background of them drinking their beers and hanging out with everybody. So, but yeah, no, I play a lot around here in Springfield and, in the area. I've got a band now that I'm working with.
Okay.
And so my producer and drummer, Jimmy, I just told him, I was like, dude, just give me a bunch of guys that are fun to hang out with and play me under the table. And he did too, because they are damn good. And so that's a lot of where this record's going to come in at, and they're going to make it better than what I ever thought I could make it,
That is awesome, man. Where do people find you on social?
Everything on there, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that stuff's under Buster Clifton Davis.
Buster Clifton Davis. Awesome. You got a website or just on social?
Coming soon. So we're getting all that stuff worked out. My media manager, Nick, is going to help me with a lot of that stuff. I'm working with a team for videography, branding, all that stuff. So like I said, all my past attempts have been very half-assed. I was just like, you know what? I'm getting to the point where if I'm going to do this, I need to do it right. And so we decided that we're going to go full ass on this one, I guess. So.
Dude, sounds like you got a plan. I'm so stoked for that, dude. So yeah, everybody, if you get the chance, go out, Buster Clifton Davis on social media. And one last thing, is there anything you want to share with the audience before we wrap up here tonight?
Man, I don't have much. Like I said, I gave, I think, my best advice on there. I'll keep all the stupid advice for myself. I don't think people need to hear too much of that.
Just tell them they can come to the show and you'll share more advice there.
Yeah. I usually drink a couple beers and probably say some stupid shit. So come share that one. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, Clifton, man, so much appreciated. Thanks for coming out today. Dude, this has been awesome. Love having you on the show, man. Absolutely. And, I have a little surprise, little something for you here. So
Okay.
we've got
a little gift bag here, huh?
little gift bag. Got you
Oh, let me see this here.
some coffee in there. Got you a Brewing Better Days sticker. And
every guitar case needs stickers.
some chocolate covered espresso beans for those late nights when you need to be
Oh, dude, I will be
amped up on the
smacking
road or something.
This is gonna be gone tonight.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you, man. So, all right, all. So, amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name's Eric Hadley. I'm your host. Wrapping up. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Y'all have a great night. God bless.
You've been listening to Brewing Better Days. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit us up on Instagram at Brewing Better Days and check the website at www.brewingbetterdays.com. Hey, life's hard, but it sure is easier with a nice cup of coffee. See you next time on Brewing Better Days.